Barely a decade ago, many folks wrote off this gun as a dusty relic from a bygone era. Enthusiasts saw it vanish from store shelves, overshadowed by sleek polymer firearms and modern sporting rifles. So, what gun are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the Marlin 1895, which is going to be the subject of today's video. We'll look at how everyone thought at one point that it would be gone for good, and how it's now roaring back onto the scene with so much demand that shops can barely keep it in stock. This is a firearm that first appeared over a century ago, designed to handle cartridges that made it a serious contender in thick woods and close-range encounters. It disappeared from new production when corporate turmoil and bankruptcy cast a dark cloud over its future, leaving many hunters and collectors scrambling for whatever used models they could find. Now, we're seeing a remarkable reemergence that reaffirms our right to own powerful, heritage-rich firearms. As folks with a deep appreciation for the Second Amendment, we can celebrate this renewed availability of a classic, because it shows that tradition can endure and thrive in a market often driven by newfangled designs. There's nothing quite like handling a lever-action rifle that blends old-world craftsmanship with modern manufacturing know-how. From the robust 4570 chambering to the distinctive side-ejecting solid-top design, the Marlin 1895 has always had a special place in the hearts of shooters who appreciate something more than just ballistic data on a chart. The new version is more refined, more reliable, and evidently more in demand than ever before. To appreciate why this revival is so thrilling, we should look at the history behind the original Marlin 1895. The first model bearing that name appeared in 1895 and was largely an upsized version of the Marlin 1893, which itself was an improvement over the earlier model 1889. The legendary Louis Lobden Hebburn, who brought a wealth of competitive shooting experience and firearm design know-how from his time at Remington, was instrumental in shaping these rifles. He believed in crafting rifles that could handle substantial cartridges, so the early 1895s were chambered for hefty rounds such as 3856, 4065, and especially 4570. Back then, the top tang was drilled and tapped for a peep sight, and the side ejection plus solid top design allowed shooters to mount optics in an era when that concept was still in its infancy. With the increased power came an increase in weight and overall size, and it was sold in various barrel lengths, including a rare carbine variant and even a 15-inch version outfitted with a ring on the receiver. Though it never took the commercial market by storm, building fewer than 20,000 units, it earned a small but passionate following among hunters and ranchers who valued dependable performance in thick brush. Over time, the industry shifted toward bolt-action rifles as armies worldwide embraced faster, pointy, high-velocity cartridges. Thus, the 1895 quietly receded from the limelight. Yet even in that twilight, it planted seeds of appreciation that would later blossom. Decades later, in 1972, Marlin recognized that there were still plenty of folks who believed in the usefulness of big-bore lever guns. They revived the Model 1895 designation, but this time based the action on their newer Model 336 receiver. That move brought updated production methods, simplified machining, and a design more suitable for modern scope mounting. The revived 1895 arrived with a 22-inch barrel and a half-length magazine tube holding 4 rounds of 4570, which was, and remains, a heavy hitter capable of anchoring large game at close to moderate ranges. This updated edition catered to hunters who wanted something that could punch through thick foliage without worrying about deflection, and it excelled as a brush gun for pursuits like white-tailed deer or black bear. Over the next few years, variations such as the 1895S, the Sporter, and the 1895 SS with a crossbolt safety were introduced, appealing to a wider audience seeking classic looks blended with modern safety features. Although this reintroduction enjoyed decent success, it wasn't exactly a bestseller that flew off shelves everywhere. Instead, it maintained a modest but steady presence in the market, supported by folks who preferred the thunderous knockdown power of 4570 to smaller, high-velocity rounds. Over time, the rifle's popularity experienced a resurgence when people began customizing them with features like large loop levers, peep sights, and even suppressor-ready barrels. Eventually, it became more than just a throwback. It was a legitimate choice for hunters, guides, and enthusiasts who valued tradition alongside proven ballistics. Then came a storm nobody saw coming. Corporate woes that eventually dragged Remington, and by extension Marlin, into bankruptcy in 2020. Production of the 1895 ceased once again, and many of us who love lever actions worried that this time it might be permanent. We saw used rifle prices climb, and those lucky enough to own a pre-Remington or JM stamped model felt fortunate to have what they believed might become a piece of history. That's where I'd like to pause and hear from you for a moment. What do you make of the roller coaster journey this iconic lever gun has taken? And have you been among those scouring shops for an older 1895? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious about your take on whether these big-bore lever rifles still belong in our modern arsenal, or if they've been overshadowed by polymer-framed options. For those of us who hold the Second Amendment close to heart, there's something undeniably appealing about an American-made large-bore lever action that's proven itself time and again. It's more than nostalgia. It's about practicality, heritage, and the right to enjoy a rifle that suits our personal preferences. A lot of folks had written the 1895's obituary by 2020, but big surprises were coming when another major American gunmaker decided to scoop up Marlin and breathe new life into this timeless design. That gunmaker was Ruger. When they acquired Marlin during the Remington bankruptcy proceedings, many were anxious to see how this transition would play out. Some worried that Ruger might simply slap a Marlin label on an existing product or rush inferior versions out the door to capitalize on brand recognition. Those fears disappeared once the first Ruger-made Marlin rifles started appearing. The new management spent considerable time upgrading machinery, refining the manufacturing process, and ensuring that tolerances were tighter than ever. Reports from the field indicated that these revamped 1895s boasted sleek actions, well-fitted stocks, and crisp barrel threading. Ruger also retained the side-ejecting solid-top style that has always defined Marlin lever guns, allowing modern optics to be mounted with ease. The initial release under Ruger's stewardship was the 1895 SBL, a rifle that symbolized the union of old-school power and modern precision. With its stainless steel finish, laminate stock, and big loop lever, the SBL caught the eye of those who love both classic style and contemporary durability. We began hearing anecdotes of gun shops selling out within hours, or sometimes minutes, after new shipments arrived. In a world teeming with plastic and polymer designs, there's a certain appeal to an all-metal, wood, or laminate-stocked firearm that doesn't pretend to be anything other than a piece of American gun heritage reintroduced for today's shooter. This rebirth came at a time when lever guns were already enjoying a renaissance in some circles. More folks started exploring their potential for brush hunting and close-range defense, discovering that 4570 is no slouch when it comes to knocking down game. Another factor driving sales was the wave of customization. Owners install peep sights, scout scopes, muzzle brakes, or even suppressors, creating unique setups that merge tradition with cutting-edge performance. That kind of variety is a perfect fit for the Pro 2A community, which values personal choice and the freedom to tailor firearms to individual tastes. The new 1895 platform is especially suited to such modifications, since Ruger's manufacturing improvements resulted in a stronger, more consistent build. Beyond that, there's a cultural element at play. In an era when many rifles focus on ultra-long-range accuracy or feature-laden modular systems, the lever-action design reminds us of a different philosophy: straightforward reliability, quick follow-up shots, and heavy-hitting rounds for short to medium distances. Combine that with the nostalgia factor, and you've got a recipe for a gun that feels comfortable across multiple generations of shooters. A big part of the excitement centers on the entire lineup Ruger is rolling out under the Marlin name. Models like the Trapper boast a 16.5-inch barrel, stainless construction, and a Skinner peep sight for those who want a more compact rifle without sacrificing that 45-70 punch. The guide gun variant offers an 18.5-inch barrel with a stock that includes a recoil pad to tame the thump of heavier rounds, while the Cowboy series appeals to folks who love traditional aesthetics, including a longer barrel and increased magazine capacity. Each variant has its own personality, but they all share that unwavering heritage and the side-ejecting design that sets Marlin apart from the classic Winchesters. Many folks appreciate how easily optics can be added if desired, turning these rifles into versatile tools for hunting everything from wild hogs in the brush to bear in thick timber. Videos and reviews began popping up showing these rifles grouping well at 100 yards or slightly beyond, which is remarkable for a big, heavy-hitting caliber that isn't typically pitched as a long-range round. The undeniable success story here is that these new Marlin 1895s are energizing the lever-action segment to a degree we haven't seen in years. The evidence of their popularity is everywhere. Gun shops report waiting lists. Online retailers often have out-of-stock notices. People who manage to get one talk about feeling lucky, especially if they scored the exact configuration they were after. Prices sometimes rise above suggested levels simply because demand outstrips supply. This surge also reaffirms something we, as supporters of the right to keep and bear arms, have known for a long time. If a firearm is well-made, has character, and delivers real-world performance, folks will want it. The Marlin 1895 accomplishes all of that. Plus, it carries the weight of history in every lever stroke. There's a special satisfaction in knowing that you're firing a direct descendant of a late 19th century design, only now it's enhanced by the kind of manufacturing precision we expect in the 21st century. Where polymer rifles can sometimes blend together in terms of look and feel, a lever action like the 1895 has a distinct identity that resonates with many of us on a personal level. It embodies self-reliance, reliability, and good old-fashioned American craftsmanship. That's part of the reason it's back, and it's also why it's selling so fast. You can think of it as powerful evidence of the enduring appeal of the big-bore lever concept. And that's it for this video. I'm the type who celebrates the firearms that remind me why I cherish my freedom to choose and own the guns that suit me best. Some say lever actions are old-fashioned, but I say they're timeless, and they prove that there will always be a market for rifles with soul and history. After all, the right to keep and bear arms isn't just about what's new. It's about safeguarding every legitimate option for personal and sporting use. That includes a big-bore lever action that can drop a hog at close range just as easily as it can hang on the wall as a point of pride. With the Marlin 1895's triumphant return, we see yet again that you can't bury a legend forever. I don't know about you, but I feel a surge of pride every time I see one of these rifles in someone's hands, knowing that a piece of our shooting heritage is still alive and kicking. If that doesn't excite you, maybe nothing will. But I'd love to hear what you think. Is the Marlin 1895 on your wish list, or have you already managed to snag one? Let me know in the comments, and please remember to like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell icon for more of these videos.